Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist and Joe Mac. I'm in Las Vegas, and Joe, you're in New York. How's the weather over there?
It is dark and cloudy, and it's feeling like football season, so maybe that's good. We've had a beautiful stretch of weather, but now it's getting a little nasty, so what are you going to do? The locals are happy, though. The Yankees have moved on, and now everybody's telling everyone else that they told them so, even though they were a little bit worried about the Twins. So,
well,
it's onward and forward for the Yankees as they go for another title.
Well, I don't think the Yankees have anything to worry about till they have to meet Houston, if Houston can get there. You know, they're starting Verlander on short rest, and Verlander is one of the greatest pitchers in baseball, has been for a while, but he's on short rest. Anything can happen. Tampa is a sneaky little team. They're going with that opener bullpen strategy today. They're going to have fresh arms all day long coming out of the bullpen. They've been very successful doing that. This is a dangerous spot when you take an older pitcher and throw him out there on 3 days rest. They're not used to doing that. It doesn't always work out, and they may end up having to go and go back to Houston and win this with Cole.
No, I agree. I was a little surprised by this decision by A.J. Hinch, the Astros manager, and that staff there. I wasn't totally surprised that the Rays showed some life yesterday and won. I mean, I was a little surprised that they bombed Greinke the way they did. But, the series looked like it was a legit 4-game series, with the Astros starting pitching basically overwhelming them in the end. But I'm a little surprised that they're going to go with Verlander here. I mean, I read where he's only gone on short rest once in his whole career, which really, that was a little strange too. But I just doubt this move. I mean, they talked about Wade Miley all year, like that he was like a hidden gem for them, and now they're not even, they gave him a little time the other day, but in relief. But I just didn't. I don't think this is the right thing. Now, I know there's people already. I listened to some of the sports talk in New York. Of course, everyone's saying, well, this is great. That means Verlander can't go game 1 Saturday if it's Astros Yankees. But I mean, he'd be on regular rest to go in game 2. So I don't make that as big a deal. I mean, whether Cole pitches 1 or Verlander 2, if they get to that next series, I just don't think this is the right move here. I think they should have gone with Miley, hoped for 5 good innings, and then go with their bullpen. And as we've seen throughout these playoffs so far, Jim, I mean, these teams are bringing in starting pitchers, even if it's just for 1 inning. I mean, we've seen Scherzer come in, we've seen Strasburg in relief, we saw Corbin. Actually, all 3 Nationals pitchers have done it. Corbin not to too much success the other night. I thought we'd see that route. I thought we'd see Miley here, and if they had to throw 1 inning of Verlander or Cole in the 6th or the 7th, they'd go that way. It's a little dangerous territory here. And again, even if the series goes back to Houston and Houston's laying 2-1 or something in a possible game 5, I mean, now you're giving this Tampa team a little bit more life. They're a frisky team. They're a tough team to keep off the bases, and they've got a little pop, as we saw yesterday. Kiermaier is not a power hitter, and he launched that big 3-run homer that kind of cracked the game open. So I don't like the move. I don't like it by Houston. Obviously, Hinch knows his pitches way better than I'll ever know. But I don't like the move. And I'll be honest, I haven't liked a couple of moves I've seen in this playoffs with teams deciding who's pitching and whatever. I didn't like that the Twins didn't pitch Odorizzi in game 2. I mean, he was either their best or second best pitcher all year, and they went with these silly analytics, which at times make sense, and at times they're silly. And they went with that kid Dobnik, and he was totally in over his head at Yankee Stadium the other day. So I have seen a lot of moves so far in the postseason, and obviously we're only a week into the postseason. I've seen a lot of pitching moves and decisions that I really scratch my head about, and again, this is one of them tonight with Verlander.
Well, I agree. I saw Milwaukee make mistakes in the last 2 years in these playoffs, and I've seen it many times. Rogers, I think he makes Roberts, I should say, makes a lot of mistakes for the Dodgers. But you know what? I'm not on the firing line. Neither are you, so it's hard to criticize. But I want to bring up what we watched on television last night, as I see a disaster in the making. And I'm going to come right out and say it. Haslam has made too many decisions as He's not a football man. Kitchens should not be the head coach. They should have gone with Greg Williams, who won 5 out of 6 at the end of last year. Baker Mayfield is brash. He should not be picking the head coach. He should keep his mouth shut and focus a little bit more on playing football. OJ, Beckham, if you have to cater to him to keep him happy, he shouldn't be on your team. These guys are totally out of control. That was a disaster for the Browns, for the franchise, for the city. I feel sorry for their fans. It's a half a century of garbage from them, and they're doing it again.
Jim, I couldn't have said it any better, and I'll add one thing. Have you ever seen more wide open guys on the other side? The 49er receivers were open all night, and the tackling by Cleveland's defense, which we knew going into the season was a weak point. Everyone was talking about the offense and all the weapons that you just talked about, OBJ, Landry, and Mayfield, of course. I mean, that defense last night, they couldn't tackle an 80-year-old in open field. They were awful. And as I wrote in Jim Hurley Network, we have a daily column called Jim Says. I wrote in the column last night after the game, I said, let's face it, that game was over before anyone had a sip of their second adult beverage. I mean, it was over last night. It was non-competitive. Mayfield looked lost. I got a real kick out of Boza with that sack for the Niners where he acted like he was planting the flag. I mean, some of the attacks, some of the stunts they pull are funny and some are just, immature. But I thought that was very funny that he was remembering something that happened 2 years ago at a college football game. But hey, I agree with you. I mean, the decision making, which we just talked about with baseball and pitches, but I mean, it's all about decisions. Look at the decisions the Browns made. I mean, this Freddie Kitchens, I will say this. I give a lot of NFL coaches 1 year leeway. I remember in the 80s when Bill Parcells took over the Giants, he was lost. He was lost the first season as the Giant head coach. His decisions were terrible. His in-game clock management and everything was terrible. And somebody who's very wise said to me, you got to give NFL head coaches a year just to get their feet in the water and see how they do. So I'm not going to totally bury Kitchens, although he looks like he's in over his head. And I agree with you. Greg Williams did everything a human being could do last year to get that job. I mean, in other words, he never had a chance for that job if he was going to. His team performed so well last year, and he didn't even apparently get an interview for what he has said here in New York. And instead, what does he get? He gets to be the defensive coordinator of a Jets team that's so god-awful, it's unbelievable. But back to the Browns, I mean, they've got all that talent, but that's what goes on. You got to appease OBJ, who's just not a winning player, and you've got to appease Jarvis Landry, who's had about 3 good games in his career, and you got Mayfield, who once the offensive line, which is like a sieve, breaks down, and his height hurts him there. He can't see over guys. He doesn't, he's up to scribble. He doesn't even know if he's running into a pressure or not. I don't want to say it's a lost cause. Everyone maybe expected too much from this Browns team, but my God, they're the most roller coaster-like NFL team so far. And when they look bad, as we've seen, Jim, they're bad. You've seen them in a couple of spots, and they can really be bad.
Yeah, I agree. We're gonna have some. Seattle goes to Cleveland this coming week. Cleveland was a 2.5, 3-point favorite until last night's game was played, and now Seattle's become the favorite in the game. Now you're going to have Baker Mayfield against Russell Wilson. You talk about one of the best against a kid that just talks a good game but hasn't performed.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I saw last night during the game they were throwing out early MVP candidates. I mean, it is early, 5 weeks into the season, but they did have the ESPN guys, Booger McFarland, had Russell Wilson as his early season MVP, and I started thinking about it. I said, well, first of all, it's too early for me to think MVP, but then I said, really, he's got to be in everybody's top 3 at this point. I mean, he's just done a fabulous job, never seems to get older, and, Seattle, the expectations for them, I don't think were sky high this year. So you look at them and you say, hey, they are way overachieving, obviously, and then you look at Mayfield and the Browns, and you're like, wow, you could probably wait 20 quarterbacks ahead of Mayfield and his stats right now. So that looks like a lopsided, quote, matchup, if you will. Seattle playing very well, and boy, I don't know. You just don't know what to expect from the Browns. They played a couple of primetime games here. The Jets game, okay, they beat up a terrible Jets team, and then they had the Rams fiasco with it, inside the 5-yard line. They couldn't push it in 4 shots, and then you've got last night where they were just never in the game. So, I know it's an old saying that somebody's not ready for prime time, but, the Browns don't look like they're ready for prime time, and I'm not quite sure they can match up with the Seattle team, whether they're home or not.
We got some other baseball games going to be played tomorrow, Joe. Going to be interesting. The Dodgers are back in trouble. Their bullpen left them down again. Now they're going home to try to finish off Washington.
Yeah, the Dodgers are, I thought the series was going to go 5 games. I really did. I thought we'd see some life from these Nats. They certainly got jump-started by that wild card win. And, I have to admit, I still think the Dodgers at home are going to win this. Game 5 here. But you're right, that bullpen is shaky, and we haven't really seen a moment where it comes down to say a 1-run lead in the 9th or even the 8th, and Jansen is trying to save it. I mean, that was really the side story all season, and you really want to see. I mean, I want to see, can the Dodgers close it out? Can they close out a 5-4 lead with a couple of guys on base in the top of the 8th inning for the Nationals, and somebody decent in the lineup like Rendon or whatever batting? Can Jansen get 4 outs or 5 outs here? That's going to be great drama. And as far as the other series, Jim, I have really enjoyed this Braves-Cardinals series. I mean, I'm a Mets fan, so I don't really particularly keep either one of these teams for the most part. But boy, what a great first 4 games so far. The flip-flopping of Game 3 this Sunday afternoon amidst all the football that was going on. I mean, that was just a wild 9th inning, with the Braves comeback. And then yesterday, I mean, that's such great drama. And I have to say, even though he killed the Mets back in 2006 when he was a young guy, Yadier Molina, to me, is one of the all-time great baseball players. I was really happy to see him come through in the clutch. I mean, he got that little nub job that just got over Freeman's glove into short right for the big hit. And boy, the Cardinals have just shown me a lot. Both, we talk about decisions. How about the decision by the Braves? Now we know a lot of this is basically scripted out, but you got this Tomlin, who not a lot of people talk about. But Tomlin got 4 big outs for the Braves in the 7th and 1 out in the 8th, and you pull him out for Shane Green, and Jimmy Green doesn't get the job done. It goes back to that old thing. Are you watching the game with your own eyes, or do you just have everything scripted? This guy has to pitch in the 8th. This guy has to pitch in the 9th. If the Braves lose this series, their manager Snitker is really, he should at least think twice about that move, that he didn't keep Tomlin in for at least another batter or 2, because he looked sharp, and the Braves looked like they had the Cardinals down, and he went to his pen, and that pen has been leaky more times than not. I know a lot of people have pointed out that they got better after the trade deadline. At first, Green and Melanson and those guys were not good, and they definitely got better in September. But boy, from what I saw, he should have stayed put with this kid Tomlin, and then hope for the best. But anyway, that's been a great series. Braves are obviously favorite here to, I should say that, favorite to win the series at the start, but right now I see this game basically pick them. We might have to lay $1.10 with the Braves, but it's just great drama, and heck, I hope all the rest of the playoffs are just like what we're seeing now.
Yeah, it's been pretty exciting. What do you have going at Jim Hurley Network this week?
Got a lot of stuff. We're on top of the baseball. We're doing very good with the baseball right now. In fact, that series right there, we've played all 4 games and hit 3 out of 4. We had the easy under in Game 2 when Flaherty and Fulton Average pitched. And we had the Cardinals in Games 1 and 4. We've got a lot of football, obviously. Ton of college games out there. Big pro schedule, as we all know. Jim Hurley Network, we're here for all the winners. Last weekend, we really knocked them dead in the pros. We had a big winner on the Denver Broncos. We had a big, strong winner on the Packers. Both those games, underdogs, wire-to-wire winners. And truthfully, you never really had to sweat the Packer game in terms of the spread. You really didn't have to sweat much with the Broncos. And, hey, folks, you just get it now. I mean, it's the height of the season. Believe it or not, we're just about at the halfway point in college. You'll look at a lot of teams with 6 games under their belt already. Give us a call, 1-800-323-4453. That's 1-800-323-4453. Or you can get us online at Jim Hurley, Hurley, JimHurley.com. Lots of winners. Make sure you cash in.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. We'll do another one of these maybe a day or two.
Okay, Jim. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, buddy. Bye-bye.